Happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome into the show. You're watching Philadelphia Eagles Now by Chat Sports. My name is Chase Sr. Hope everybody out there is having a fantastic week as we inch closer and closer to the NFC Championship game on Sunday. And speaking of that, a lot of storylines to hit on the show. Birds making a couple of roster moves. We have some injury news on the Eagles and Commanders front. And is this a legacy-defining game for quarterback Jalen Hurts? Couple of things that I want to hit on before we dive into all of that. Join us this afternoon. We will be live right here on Philadelphia Eagles Now for an awesome live show talking all things Eagles. We'll go live for an hour, 90 minutes or so. We're going to take down some Eagle Green Jello shots, so be sure to hop on board, join the party, join the movement, and join myself and producer Chip. Live show beginning at 5:30 p.m. Eastern, 2:30 p.m. Pacific. It's going to be informative, entertaining, insightful. We'll chop it up with all of you and hit that subscribe button. Speaking of subscribers, we are making hella moves on this YouTube channel. Prior to our Rams-Eagles watch party for the divisional round, we surpassed 100,000 subscribers. And then massive numbers this week on Monday's show. 324 new subscribers on that video alone. On Tuesday, 200 more subs. On Wednesday, 65. And in the last 28 days, no YouTube channel under the Chat Sports umbrella has picked up more subs than Eagles Now. Go Birds. 5,800 people worldwide have locked us in and hit that sub button, so you should be the next person to do that. If you haven't already done so, subscribe right now. As for those Eagles roster moves, I'll run through a couple of them, and then I'll expand my thoughts on every single move that Howie Roseman and this organization has made this week. First of all, Philadelphia opened up the practice window for wide receiver and punt returner Britain Covey, tight end Nick Muse, and offensive lineman Cameron Erving. They have been added to the Eagles practice squad, and then defensive end KJ Henry released from the practice squad. Used to play for the Commanders, didn't work out there, went to Clemson. Didn't work out with Philadelphia either, as Charles Harris kind of stayed in front of him on that practice squad depth chart. Let's talk a little bit about Britain Covey here. Could we see him return punts in the NFC Championship game against Washington? I think this is a possibility with the Eagles opening up that practice window. He is very sure-handed. Prior to this year, the back half of 2022 and in 2023, he was arguably the best punt returner in the National Football League. There could be some rust concerns, but at Utah, he was so dynamic as a kick returner and a punt returner. A threat to take it to the house at any moment that he got his hands on the football. And once he knocked off the early jitters and got used to the NFL speed and learned to translate what he did at Utah to the NFL level, with him being very shifty, having good vision, good patience, he's turned into a very good punt returner in the NFL. There's also this. Cooper DeJean is the more athletic and dynamic player. He's been really good as a returner this year, taking back punts for Philadelphia. But do you want a rookie back there, or do you want an experienced player back there? We did see, although the elements weren't great weather-wise, DeJean fumbled against the Los Angeles Rams. For Covey, been dealing with the neck injury. It was the second time that he got placed on injured reserve this year. Hurt his shoulder early, went on IR, came back, and then pretty much right away injured his neck. So he's only played in 5 games this year. As far as returning punts, hasn't had the same success that he had in 2023. 6 returns, 46 yards, only an average of 7.7. And then receiving-wise, he told me last year at the Super Bowl when we sat down for a great interview, he wanted Kellen Moore to include him a little bit more in the pass game, or at least he felt as though he was ready for those opportunities. Early in the year, we saw him use as a pre-snap motion man, and he caught a couple of balls, 8 targets, 7 catches for 34 yards. But for him, his specialty is as a specialist. And this is a potential boost on special teams for Philadelphia. Yes, as I mentioned, DeJean is faster, he's bigger, he's more explosive, but he doesn't really have some of the instincts that Britain Covey has, which is what makes him a very unique weapon as a punt returner. As for Nick Muse, a lot of people know about his TikToks. 7th-round pick by the Minnesota Vikings in the 2022 NFL Draft. 19 offensive snaps and 184 special team snaps in 16 career games. He only has 1 catch, which went for a little bit more than 20 yards, so the efficiency certainly there. I joke, but he could end up being on the 2025 offseason roster for Philadelphia as a depth piece at that tight end spot. And then there's Cameron Erving, who entered the NFL with a lot of expectations as an offensive lineman. He was a first-round pick in 2015 before the Eagles took Nelson Aguilar out of USC, dropping babies like Aguilar. That's how far back we go. And for Erving, this is his 8th different team in the National Football League. Pretty experienced player, and the Eagles probably just bringing him in because of that experience. Also because of the offensive line versatility. He's played every single position across that front. 58 starts, 98 games played in his career. The last regular season action he saw, 2023, with the New Orleans Saints. And going back to that positional versatility, this is something that Jeff Stoutland, Nick Sirianni, Howie Roseman probably covet and like for an offensive lineman on the practice squad, right? He has more than 1,500 snaps logged at left tackle, more than 1,100 at left guard, 659 at center, 406 at right guard, 252 at right tackle. So primarily his experience coming center left of that line of scrimmage. Lastly, KJ Henry signed after the Brandon Graham injury when Philadelphia thought, okay, we're going to need some depth. Bryce Huff got hurt. But how about Josh Sweat? Rebound year in here in 2024 compared to what he did last year. Nolan Smith has taken a massive leap. That Eagles defensive line also with Milton Williams, Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Moro Ajomo, they've been bringing the heat. And there's a chance that maybe Brandon Graham could play in the Super Bowl if the Eagles make it there. John Clark, NBC Sports Philadelphia, asked him as he was walking off the field with the snow coming down on Sunday, could you return for the NFC Championship game? BG said, we'll see. But the Eagles haven't made a roster move in that regard, and I doubt that considering he tore his triceps, a very serious injury. Charles Harris, he's been ahead of KJ Henry on the practice squad, and that will continue to be the case. I do want to ask you this. Who should return punts for the Eagles against the Commanders? Should it be Britain Covey, type BC, or Cooper DeJean, type CD? As for the Eagles injury report, these players did not participate on Wednesday. Dallas Goedert ankle, he was dealing with that in the lead up to that Rams game. He's going to play. Cam Jurgens, back injury. Do have to add this. This Eagles interior offensive line needs to do a much better job of pass protection and in passing plays, I should say, compared to what they've done against Green Bay and against the Rams. Their interior offensive linemen in pass protection, they have struggled. Cam Jurgens has to be a little bit better. These players limited on the Eagles injury report. Wide receiver A.J. Brown, knee rest. Britain Covey, neck, practice window opened. Quarterback Jalen Hurts, knee. His mobility or lack thereof could be a huge key in this football game, so we'll see how he looks early in the game and how he progresses throughout the week, but he is going to play. Offensive tackle Lane Johnson, knee and rest. Quarterback Quinyon Mitchell, shoulder, also going to play. And then defensive end Josh Sweat, ankle and rest day, as he is a veteran getting some rest as well. For A.J. Brown, the numbers have been down against the Packers and against the Rams. He's due for a breakout performance. Does that happen against Washington? That secondary a little bit suspect. Really good matchup back in Week 16 against Marshawn Lattimore that I thought A.J. Brown won. He's been dealing with that knee injury. He said he's feeling better, he's progressing, and he's getting stronger. At some point, the Eagles are going to have to rely on number 11 in that pass game, and hopefully he doesn't drop passes like he did against the Rams, although the slick conditions did lead to those drops. Hurts and Mitchell going to play against the Commanders. Did a breakdown on what each of them mean to the respective side of the ball that they play on for this Eagles team. Quinyon going to be matched up a lot against Terry McLaurin. And then quarterback Jalen Hurts has to perform a little bit better in the pass game. Not going to knock him for the snow. Partially it was on him, it was on the line, it was on play calling and play designs, but this Eagles offense partially runs through Jalen Hurts, and their chances of winning the Super Bowl ride on his coattails. Go Birds! If you hate the Commanders, I want you to hit that thumbs up icon, like the video, and type F Washington down in the chat. Still to come, some Commanders injury news to hit, and I want to pose this question and talk about this. Is this going to be a legacy-defining game for Jalen Hurts? Stay tuned for that discourse and that conversation. But first, Do you want a better way to do things? You can see for yourself at hellotushy.com/chat, because Tushy is making today's Philadelphia Eagles now possible. You can save big by using the code CHAT by utilizing that link down below. If you're convinced you're already the best version of yourself, you've never looked at your butthole. All that hair, all those spicy wings, do yourself a favor and buy a bidet. Finally, a resolution that isn't a pain in the ass. Tushy bidets fit on your toilet in under 10 minutes, improving your health and saving you time, money, every time you bomb the bowl. At what point do we decide stashing a wet, dirty plunger in a plastic bag is not okay? You see that at convenience stores in the middle of nowhere. Grimy. For me, that was this January. Since switching to Tushy Bidet, I've cut my toilet paper use by 80%, and I haven't clogged the toilet once. Most importantly, clean butthole. Tushy is the modern bidet attachment that instantly transforms your bathroom habits and butt health for life. The Tushy Bidet also easily attaches to your existing toilet without the need for additional plumbing or electricity. It fits 95% of toilets, 8.5-minute do-it-yourself install, fresh as tap water, no outlet needed. So instantly improve your health from the bottom on up. For a limited time, our listeners and our viewers get 10% off their first bidet order when you use the code CHAT at checkout. That's 10% off your first bidet order at hellotushy.com/chat and use that code CHAT. Hopefully the Commanders play like buttholes on Sunday. Here's the Commanders' injury news here. Right guard Sam Cosmi not going to play in this game because of a torn ACL. Discussed that earlier this week as well. And hopefully Jalen Carter is able to win those matchups along the interior, because Jaden Daniels is so mobile, he's so athletic, he's so dangerous with his legs, and you can help limit that if you get that interior pressure and you get pressure in his face, you muddy up the pocket, and you make the ground beneath him unstable. Cosmi, one of the top guards in the NFL. Jalen Carter, one of the most dominant interior defensive linemen and defensive players in general in the National Football League. Him, Milton Williams, Moro Ijoma, Jordan Davis, going to have to bring it. That's a big key in this game. Zach Ertz, he has been tremendous for the Commanders this year. A right-hand man for Jaden Daniels, especially on third down, fourth down, and in the red zone. Did not practice on Wednesday, just veteran rest. Same can be said for defensive end Cleveland Ferrell. Outside linebacker Dante Fowler Jr., an edge rusher here. He's had a career year. Also a rest veteran maintenance day for him. Defensive tackle Deron Payne did not participate in practice. Thumb and knee injuries. He came off of a torn pec, and he's been able to come back from that injury very quickly. Linebacker Bobby Wagner had a knee sprain, still played against the Lions. We'll see if he's hobbled up a little bit against Philadelphia. These players limited. Javontae Jean-Baptiste, shoulder. He's a defensive lineman. And then Olamide Zaccheaus, who is the Commanders' third best wide receiver, dealing with a hip injury. Full participants here. Tight end John Bates, shoulder. Center Tyler Biotish, ankle. Left tackle Brandon Coleman, shoulder. Safety Dominique Hampton, back. Linebacker Frankie Louvu, he has been a menace against Philadelphia this year and a great acquisition for the Commanders. He has been a game-changing player against Philadelphia in particular this season. Eagles have to be aware of where Louvu is at all times. Running back Jeremy McNichols' hand, tight end Benson at the rookie shoulder, and then cornerback Marshawn Lattimore, for the first time since the Commanders traded for him, been dealing with a hamstring injury. He is fully healthy, and that matchup with A.J. Brown is going to be a very good one. Let's round out with this. I just want to have this conversation, and I encourage you to get yourselves involved in the conversation down in the comment section as well. And let me pose this question. Is this NFC Championship game a legacy game for Jalen Hurts? The discourse around him this season has been very interesting. People have said Hurts can't throw. He's a glorified running back. He's being carried. He stinks. He's so overrated. His resume is pretty impressive, ladies and gentlemen. 46-20 as a starter in the NFL. 2 NFC Championship games in 3 years. In 2 of 3 years, he's helped lead his team to 14 wins. That's unprecedented, and it's never been done in the history of this organization. He was an MVP runner-up back in 2022 behind Patrick Mahomes. He outplayed Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl, accounting for 400 yards of total offense and 4 touchdowns. And this year, 35 total touchdowns and 5 interceptions in the regular season and in the playoffs. I know that people want Hurts to have more success throwing the ball, but it would be dumb for the Eagles to go pass happy when you have Saquon Barkley, this offensive line, and you'd be going away from your strengths and where you found success as an offensive unit. Can Hurts be better as a passer? For sure. But if he goes out, slings it, and the Eagles win, that's a statement win and a statement performance. And if he makes it to 2 Super Bowls in 3 years, that's very impressive. Being a quarterback isn't just about stats, it's also about intangibles, and Hurts is a great leader and a great face of the franchise. He also adds a special dimension to this offense. Dual threat ability makes him very unique and special, and I expect him to have a big game against the Commanders. If you want Hurts to ball out against Washington, to punch the Eagles' ticket to Super Bowl 59, spam those ones down in the comment section right now. And another programming reminder, join us live later today in a few hours, 5:30 p.m. Eastern, 2:30 p.m. Pacific. We're going live right here on the channel.